Alright, good morning. Okay, today we move on to the next part of progression. Alright, so before we move on, a short recap of what we have done. Okay, now progression, we have got two parts to it. One is arithmetic and one is geometric progression. Okay, previously what we saw was for arithmetic progression, we've got something called the common difference. Means the difference between the neighboring terms are the same. Okay, and under geometric progression, we call it common ratio. Common ratio means the ratio between the neighbors, the two neighboring terms will be common throughout the progression. Okay, so we will focus on arithmetic progression first today. So this is common difference. So common difference is denoted by D. So D is actually just your Tn minus Tn minus 1. Okay, this was what we saw previously. Okay, so today we move on to the next part. The next part is to find the nth term. The nth term in a progression. Okay, we are calling it an arithmetic progression. Alright, so here there is a formula to it. There's a formula to it. The formula is Tn equals to A plus n minus 1d. Alright, so this is the first one that we saw previously. D equals to Tn minus Tn minus 1. Okay, so today we move on to this. Tn equals to A plus n minus 1d. Alright, and later on we move on to the next. Okay, so we'll just see this first. So Tn, T stands for the term n, which term that we are looking for. Now A here stands for your first term, like what we have seen previously in the other exercise. N stands for the number of term, and D is actually your common difference. Okay, alright, so I repeat, Tn equals to A plus n minus 1d. Alright, so we take an example first. Okay, a very simple example. Alright, here the question says find the indicated term. Okay, so to find your indicated term, you have got 7. This is my progression. 7, 13, 19, and so on. So we are looking for the 10th term here. Alright, so first thing first, being an arithmetic progression, we look for your difference, your common difference. So your common difference will actually be 13 minus 7. Okay, so 13 minus 7, that will be about 6. That's my D. So when we check subsequently, 19 minus 13 is also 6. 6, so it's actually common. Okay, now I'm looking for my 10th term. So that means what is given to me is, okay, I know my first term, A. The value of A is 7. Okay, my D, I just calculated, which is 6. And my N that I'm looking for is actually 10. Alright, so we just write down the formula. Tn is A plus n minus 1d. Right? Okay, so I'm looking for T10. A, 7 plus n is 10 minus 1, d is 6. So what we actually get is 7. So this is 9 and 6 will give me 54. Okay, so that means my 10th term is actually 7 plus 54, which is 61. Okay, all right. So a simple concept like this. Okay, so what is important is you make sure your formula is written correctly. Just substitute your A, find your A, your N, and your D. Alright? Okay, so now this is the second part of progression. Right? Okay, since we had it, I might as well show you how to get the sum because it's basically around the same thing. Okay, so we have done the common difference. We have found your Tn. Tn stands for the term that we are looking for. Okay, now we move on to the next part. The sum of the first n term. Okay, here, this is the formula given. There are two formulas actually. So the first one is Sn Sn equals to n over 2 2a plus n minus 1d. So basically it's the same as the previous formula. Your n is the number of terms, a will be the first term, d is your common difference, right? Okay, or there's one more formula that you can actually use. Now this one is quite specific. Why? Because for this formula, this is your n, and again is the number of terms. Your a is your first term. Okay, now this is your l. Now l stands for your last term. So if you're using this formula, you must know your first and you must know the last. But for this one, the above one here, this is quite general. So long as you know your a, your n, and your d, it's fine. You can actually use the formula. So anyway, it depends on the question. Sometimes you are able to use this straight away. Sometimes you need to do this. Okay, so I'll just show you how this is done using both formulas. Right? Okay, we go back to the previous question just now. Alright, so what I did was, this is my 10th term that we found. That means here, this progression ends at the 7th term. Sorry, the 10th term. We start with A is 7. So your T10 is actually 61. Okay, so now my next question would be, find the sum of the first 10 terms. Meaning, for my progression, this progression, I'm using the same example. So we start with 7. This is 13, all the way up to 61. 61 is my last term. So now what is given to me is A is still 7. My N is 10 because 10 terms. Right? My D is still 6 from here. Okay, so find the first 10 terms means S10. This is 10 over 2. 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d. Okay, so what I actually get is 5. This is 14 plus, this is 9 and 6 will give me 54. Okay, so we find the, so this is 14 and 54 will give me 68. So S10 is 340. Okay, so this is my total. This is my total sum when I actually have 10 terms to add up. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is sum. Sum means what we are doing now is actually we are adding up 7 plus 13 plus 19 plus all the way up to 61. So this is what I'm doing here when you're talking about sum. All right. Previously, when you're talking about the term, 10th term, means what we are looking for is we are only looking at the 10th value in that progression. Okay, which is 61. So that's the difference between this and this, the sum and the nth term. Okay, now we saw one more formula just now, that Sn equals to n over 2 a plus l. So now let's say for the same question, we do this. Okay, so S10, this is 10 over 2. Okay, my A is 7 plus L just now was 61. So S10, this is 5. So this becomes 68. So you see, you're actually getting back the same thing. So this is also 340. All right. Okay. Okay. So basically, we have covered the common difference, the nth term, and the sum of the terms. All right. So what you can do is, I want you to try out skill practice 3, question number 2, and skill practice 4, question 1 and 2. Okay, so that will be your work. Thank you.